Hello and welcome to my meditation. My name is Debra Baker and I'm so grateful that you have joined us for this little while. Yeah, you deserve this time to yourself. Let's begin. As usual, let's start with our 3 nice, really deep breaths. Breathing in, filling up your lungs, holding it for a second or two, and then letting it out. And now this time breathe in even more deeply. Fill up your lungs even more fully. Hold it for just a trifle longer. And then and now take the deepest breath you've taken all day. Hold it for a few seconds and then release it really, really slowly. And let's relax our bodies because we get the most benefit from meditation when our bodies are really deeply relaxed. So let's begin with our head, neck, and shoulders, which interestingly is where we hold anger. So let's imagine releasing anger or just feeling it and then releasing it. So pull your shoulders up to your ears, tuck your chin, pull all of your facial muscles and all your head muscles and your neck muscles, like pull it all to the middle, like squeezing your bones, gently squeezing your skull. Hold it for a breath cycle. And then let it go. Oh, it feels so good. And now, so that was our shoulders too. So let's imagine we are going to release energy in the heart space, which is where we hold sadness, grief, sorrow. So I think it works best if you pull your shoulders forward as though you're kind of gently squeezing your heart. Or I have a better idea. Let's wrap our arms around ourselves as though we're giving ourselves a hug. And just gently squeeze. So squeeze your arms in, pull your shoulder blades forward. And just for a breath cycle, just squeeze it gently, give yourself a hug. And then let it go. And any sorrow and sadness that you have, just let it go for the moment. And now let's work on releasing anything in our solar plexus. So pull your tummy in, just gently squeeze like you're squeezing your tummy. Squeeze your ab muscles in, your sides, kind of your back. Maybe even pull your lower abdominal muscles up. Just kind of pull everything together, pull your belly button toward your spine for just one breath cycle. And then let it go. And now your pelvis, pull your pelvic floor up. So our pelvis and our extremities is where we hold shame. So imagine pulling your glutes tight, pull your pelvic floor up, pull your lower abdominal muscles toward the middle like you're squeezing your pelvis. And then if any thoughts of shame come up, take a deep breath and release it. And just give yourself permission to let go of the shame for now. And now let's do our feet and our legs. So curl your toes either up or under and press your ankles and your feet and your ankles and your lower legs, your knees and your upper legs together and just kind of squeeze it all to the midline. Hold it for a breath cycle. And then release it. And if you didn't get enough release in your hands and arms, make gentle fists with your hands, turn them toward your inner arms, pull your arms to your sides, and then pull your fists up to your shoulders, and just kind of squeeze your arms to themselves and to the body. Squeeze that for a second, and then let it go. And just notice how relaxed and peaceful your body is. So I've been getting this message all week about the middle. or neutral. And there's this saying that I've heard many times, which is stay in the middle of the boat, which means you don't need to take unnecessary risks. You don't have to push yourself. You don't have to be vulnerable, unnecessarily vulnerable. And so the safest place in a boat is in the center. You think about like a canoe or even a rowboat. If you are in the middle, you are not going to be the person who gets pitched out at the first wave. And so being in the middle of the boat or staying in the center is about being safe. So I'll just be quiet for a moment, and let's just ponder how this message might apply to you. Stay in the middle of the boat. I recognize that there are lots and lots of messages about getting out of your comfort zone. And while there's validity to that idea and kind of pushing gently past some barriers that may not even be real, but just kind of in your mind, I can't do that because of X, Y, or Z, but that's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about is making our lives safe for ourselves. Because the only way that we heal, the only way that we grow, is when we are safe. Think about children. When they, numerous studies that children who have a safe home environment thrive much more fully and readily than children who never know where the next meal is coming from or where they're going to sleep tonight, which just makes sense. And that's just physical safety. When we don't feel emotionally safe, at the very least, we can't enjoy our lives. So the first part of this meditation is about feeling safe. And I'm introducing that idea to you tonight, today, whenever you listen to this meditation. And I invite you to think about, first of all, situations where you may or may not feel safe. I've known people who didn't feel safe at their jobs. And the first step in changing that is recognizing it. So in your daily round, whether it's a job or whether it's staying at home, do you feel safe? Do you feel safe in your neighborhood? Do you feel safe in your own home? And most importantly, do you feel safe with your own thoughts? I heartily and deeply invite you to spend the next several days, or maybe the next week, observing when there are no distractions in front of you, where your thoughts go. And sometimes they're not even a fully formed thought. It's just this sense of guilt or shame or like something hanging over your head. So I told you I was sick a few weeks ago, and when I was sick, there were times when I realized that there was this, wasn't even a fully formed thought, but this kind of energy that was just holding me down, and I realized that I felt bad about being sick. I had to cancel a lot of appointments. I had to clear my plate, clear my schedule, and I felt bad about it. I was afraid I was disappointing people that I cared about. So I invite you to notice kind of the direction of your thoughts this week. Are you thinking, as I often do, about keeping everybody around me happy? You know, have I called this person? Have I checked in on this person? Have I, done this or that? And what those sorts of thoughts do, excuse me, is make us feel unsafe because we can't relax. When you can relax and feel okay with where you are in the world, with where your life is going, you can feel safe in your own skin. When you look in the mirror and see something you don't like, wrinkles, extra weight, the color of your hair's not doing what you want it to do today, or your clothes don't fit the way you'd like them to, or your teeth are yellow, any number of things. When you have those negative thoughts, you make your own life unsafe for yourself. Because if you are not your biggest cheerleader, who is? So I invite you to think about your thoughts and think about balancing them, being in the middle of the boat. So in other words, probably you are like most of us in that you are very self-critical, beating yourself up all the time. I know that I do it way more than I would like to admit. So I invite you, when you become aware of it, to flip the script. And instead of saying, oh, my hair looks terrible today, to find something about yourself that you do like. So I'm not saying lie to yourself. I'm saying, look in the mirror and say, you are such a kind and loving person. You are a thoughtful person. You care about the world. You have a heart of gold. You are a beautiful, beautiful soul. So many people love you. And figure out how to say kind things about yourself. And say enough of them that you feel like you are in the middle of the boat, that you've got enough of these kind thoughts around you that you're not at risk of jumping overboard or being knocked overboard because you are criticized to the nth degree. I hope that makes sense. I feel pretty confident that you understand the message to be kind to yourself and not to push yourself beyond, what is reasonable. So just let's take a moment right now to think of one good quality about yourself. And I invite you to build on that, to listen to the negative messages and then to create a whole list of positive messages to replace them with. And I know I said earlier that there were going to be two thoughts today, and I forget how quickly these 15 to 20 minutes go by. And so next week we're going to talk about neutral. How's that for a teaser? So I invite you to consider how you treat yourself, and if you make your own life safe, if you are the safest person you are emotionally, that it's safe to be alone in your own thoughts. And thank you for joining me. And again, I invite you to think about your own self-talk and to shift it so that you feel like you are safe in your own skin and in your own mind. And we are going to continue this conversation through the month of March. And I want to remind you, absolutely, you are whole and perfect, exactly as you are, in the infinite presence, moving in, through, and as me, honors and blesses and sees the infinite presence moving in, through, and as you. Namaste.